You're listening to Company Men.
I'm Chuck Tomervik.
I'm Jared Carter.
And we've been married a cumulative 21 years. And if we can host our wives, so can you. No, you can't. You can't host our wives.
You can't host
Don't
our
host
wives.
my wife. Am I cranking it up? I think I'm cranking it up.
This is how Guy Fieri talks to himself when he's cooking.
Have I cranked it?
Have I cranked it up? Am I in flavor? This is his.
I'm not sure if I've revved it hard enough.
This is him looking in the mirror in the morning. Are we going to Flavor Town today, buddy? You are listening to Company Men?
I think we're good. We don't need to do another
Oh,
intro.
I thought you said the one was bad. We're going to keep it?
Yeah.
Is this going to stay in the podcast?
I don't know. I'm Chuck Tomervik.
I'm Jared Carter.
And we don't know what we're doing.
Hey, Chuck. Say the thing you say about the beer.
You brought me something.
I sure did.
Oh, boy.
So, this week I went to Total Wine, and Founders had this great deal on a 15-pack of beers. It's 4 different beers. And it was $15 for the 15-pack of cans. And one of the beers that I thought was really interesting was called Beer Ito. And it is an amber Mexican-style lager. Looked this up on Oscar Blues after trying it, and something that I thought was really interesting is when they were talking about the different flavors that come out, which I'm not good at talking about personally. That's not something
Right.
that comes easily to me.
No, we're what you might call beer idiots.
Beer idiots.
As we've said
I don't know if we
before.
ever mentioned this, but you actually purchased the website
beeridiot.com.
You
Yeah.
own that.
That's mine.
Yeah, you're going to make a lot of money off that someday.
Beer idiot numero uno.
But the flavors that they mentioned, they say the mouthfeel is incredibly smooth with flavors of, I know, we love the
We're
term
doing
mouthfeel.
this again?
Yeah. Walnut, toasted bread, plum, honey, and cocoa, which when I was tasting it, I was like, yum, yum, it's so good. You know, but if you go to the website, you get some different.
Sound like a dang
different
Thanksgiving
flavors.
dinner.
It's
a good thing I haven't eaten anything all day.
I'm really worried actually to find out what you brought me, because last week I gave you a Bud Light Platinum.
Oh yeah, but I'm a good friend. Who cares about your well-being and pleasure?
And I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, it's good. I brought you something. This is normally I bring you the best beer that I drank this week. I didn't do that this time, but I did bring you something that I thought you would find interesting. This is the Sea Quench Ale from Dogfish Head Brewing. This is fun. We had this at my nautical adventure Dungeons and Dragons evening, where we had lots of fun theme food and drink. So we had
That's
this
a cool idea.
very piratey, anti-scurvy sour ale here.
Have you always been anti-scurvy?
I'm very anti-scurvy. You know that about me.
That is going to be Chuck's opinion discussion tonight. Can I just tell you, I'm really excited to taste this beer. I've wanted to try it for a very long time. Mm-hmm. I'm not really a sour ale kind of guy.
Right.
And so when I see it at the store and it's in a 6-pack, I don't want to commit to that. I've never been able to bring myself to. I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, that's wise, because I had several of them, and I am giving it to you for a reason.
All right.
I don't want to drink anymore.
Well, let's crack up some.
But you get
let's
to.
crack open some cold ones.
Here we go.
That's a meme right now. Cracking open cold ones.
Cracking open
with boys.
Okay.
I don't know.
We're boys.
We're boys.
Cracking some cold ones.
Yeah.
We know the internets. Here we...
Familiar.
Oh, that sound is my favorite sound.
All right, let's judge the pours. You poured very well.
You
poured like
me
hell.
one whole glass of beer head. One just solid, foamy pillar.
Well, while you're waiting for your foam to die down,
Right.
let me...
Yeah, I'll talk to you in 20 minutes or so.
This smells exactly like a beer I don't like. Which is funny. This reminds me of Otravez or whatever, from Sierra Nevada, which is a beer that I've tried repeatedly to drink, and I almost always throw up. Thanks for bringing me this.
It's super interesting. It's got some really neat flavors in it, not ones that I like.
No.
I think it's a really well-crafted beer. You just gotta like sours, and I'm just not a...
You're not a sours
fan.
fan.
I'm not a sours fan. Get in there. Get it in your mouth.
Oh, the saltiness.
Yeah.
Oh, the saltiness is interesting.
The sea salt I actually really liked. I liked the saltiness, and it was fun. Like I said, we were in a pirate themed adventure, and so this like really helped to drive home that I was on a boat, being having waves crash into me, and then
I like it because the salt kind of offsets that sour taste that I'm not a huge fan of. It's actually drinkable.
Yeah.
All right, give Beer Ito a try.
Beer Ito. What style of beer is this?
It's a lager.
Okay. Smells good. That's the kind of hard-hitting analysis you'll get here. It smells good. Yep.
What do you think?
I dig this. It's like kind of dark in color. It's really like a dark amber, almost like orangey, but it tastes really light. I was expecting more of like a malty, like hard-hitting malty flavor, but
yeah, it's nice and light. What would that pair well with?
I really like this on its own, actually. I don't know. I don't have a clue. I really don't know. But it's super drinkable. I've just like quaffed half of this thing, which might be because I'm very, very hungry and also an alcoholic. But it's super drinkable. It's super light and nice to just kind of down this sucker. I really dig it.
For anyone who's genuinely concerned, I've noticed
wise.
over the past few weeks, Chuck makes a lot of references that if someone who were familiar with this kind of thing were to listen, you would just believe that he were a raging alcoholic. I happen to know that this is not the case. And unless he's just trying to save money, he pours one of the smallest glasses of whiskey you've ever seen in your life.
This is because I'm cheap.
It's expensive.
It's because it's very good whiskey. Raging is the wrong word. Alcoholic is an accurate word.
What other
thing
can you be that you can put the word raging in front of? I'm curious.
I'm a raging kickboxer.
A raging kickboxer.
Yeah.
A raging rave.
What
a raver?
Raging raver.
That's raver.
At least alliterative, if not.
I don't know where I'm going with anything. That. Which is kind of the point of tonight.
Yeah.
It's not the point of tonight. It's just it's descriptive of tonight.
Yeah.
This is going to be a raging
raver. Here we go.
This is going to be a raging raver.
No, we actually do have a point tonight, and it's one that's very important to me, and I know is very important to you. We talk a lot, as folks who've ever listened to this podcast will already know, about hosting folks, having people over, having company, and this is a wonderful thing. This is a good thing. This is a thing that you should do. And we are both blessed to have incredible, supportive, just wonderful women in our lives who allow us and help us to do these things.
Yep.
And we would be remiss if not celebrating that fact and those people by putting in just as much, if not more effort into hosting them. And I know this is something that you have done for a long time. You, I think even before me, and in fact kind of encouraged me to do this thing, is to have a like date night at home, right?
Yeah. Date nights at home, they kind of came into our life for a specific reason. We very much believe in date nights. We think it's incredibly important. whether you realize it or not, if you've been in a relationship for a long time, getting away with this other person, specifically into a situation that's outside the context of what you normally experience at home, you have the benefit of, if you take this person to a restaurant, you go on a date. I find that one of the reasons why this draws you closer together is because you're in a place that's relatively uncomfortable for both of you. And uncomfortable experiences are really one of the things that I believe forge strong relationships, is going through that together. It can be hard to recreate that at home, but for us, it was the availability of a babysitter that kind of introduced home date nights into our lives. And
because going out and hitting up a restaurant or a movie or whatever it is untenable on most budgets if you're doing that on a regular basis, which you should be having your wife over for dinner or having that date regularly.
Yeah.
But when we tried to do this and we tried to hit up a restaurant every time we did this, like that,
it adds
that's breaking the bank.
It adds up. Not to mention, if you want to go someplace nice, you go any place nice, it's going to be super expensive for ingredients that you could purchase and you could make in your own home for much cheaper. And also, you're leaving a tip that can be pretty pricey if you're going somewhere. There's a lot about it, but there are ways that you can have a date night at home that I want to argue brings a completely different set of value to the date than what you would experience going out. And so I'm excited to talk through these things tonight. As we've done in the past, we've kind of posed this question, not so much as, hey, what do we do? But more as a challenge to each other to see, what do you do, or what would you do to have like the most stellar, awesome date night at home? Yeah,
because it's very important to me to beat you at this.
We're very competitive.
It's very important to me
ridiculous
that I'm a better dater than you.
I think you're a master dater, personally.
That's not a thing that you can say.
Is that?
That's fine. It's cool. We'll roll past it.
All right. If you can edit that out later, that would be great. If you want to leave it, that's fine. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. I'll listen on Thursday.
I do that. I really enjoy this. I get into it so much of this because we are at home. We're having dinner, on a regular basis. Obviously, this is a thing that we do. We've said before, everybody has to eat. But there's two things that for me make it a date. And one of those, you kind of alluded to, right? Changing up the circumstances a little bit. One of the biggest things is if you have kids, which both of us do, far too many of them sometimes, it just removing them from the scenario changes the dynamic between you and your significant other so much, right? Just instantly a lot of the things that you are forced to put your attention on are removed.
Right.
And you're able to put your attention on to this other person. And then the other thing, so one of those is kind of changing up the circumstance and definitely removing children from it if they are there. The other thing is just putting in the effort. Right? We both, in order to get to this state where we have these incredible women who agreed reluctantly to marry us, had to put in a lot of effort, right? And I mean a lot of effort, because we're not what you would call a catch. Neither of us. We're not we really don't have a lot going for us.
No, it's true.
And certainly more now than we did a decade ago when we suckered these poor women into hitching themselves to us.
Yes.
And we would be remiss to not put that same effort forward now that they have made that mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get real. Guys, this is on you. Okay, date night at home is not, as far as we're concerned, it's not a mutual effort. Guys, you need to step up your game. You need to cook some cool things. You need to not just seek to impress, but in a very, if I'm going to get real here for a second, you want to communicate to your loved one who you're not taking out to someplace fancy, you want to still communicate to them, I love you, I care about you. Anybody can go to a restaurant, toss some money at a chef, and have some food made, right? But to be able to take the time, you need to be the one grabbing the groceries. Okay, yep. Purchasing the groceries. You need to be the one that's getting the kids ready for bed. Mm-hmm. You need to be the one setting up the music, setting up the expectations. You need to be the one doing the cooking. For me in my home, do you want to jump into this? Because I feel like we've said a lot of things on the front end. Let's jump into it. You want
to hear my plan for date night?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You go and then I'll go.
All right. So, as I said, for me, so much of this is about breaking out of the cycle of the things that we do normally. Both my wife and I love to get into the kitchen, love to cook a meal, so just making dinner isn't going to cut it.
Right.
There has to be a certain level of forethought put in, right? And so for me, my home run date night kind of setup here.
$5 pizza
right.
from Little Caesars.
Yeah, it's ready. It's hot.
It's hot and ready.
It is both hot and ready.
And that's what you tell your wife. I am hot and ready.
That's it.
And I brought you this hot and ready pizza.
Nothing like bedroom puns to just really nail date night.
Yes. I like where you're going with this, Chuck. All right.
No,
Go for it.
For realsies, though, what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to, without telling my wife, find a day where I know she's going to be out of the house. At work or taking the kids around or whatever. Maybe I've suggested this. Maybe I've planted the idea into her mind. Hey, why don't you take the kids out to the park on this day? Why don't you take them to the museum on this day? Or maybe I know she's already going to be out for work. And I now plan this day. I talk to, thank you for belching into my story here. This is good. Lots of bodily functions can be picked up by a microphone.
I'm in it to win it.
So I plan this day to leave work early. Talk to my boss. I've got the ability to do this. I'm going to take a half day. I'm going to come home. I'm going to clean. I'm going to make sure that at least the spaces that we are going to be inhabiting, the kitchen, the dining room, and the bedroom, are picked up and tidied, right? So she's gone. She's out of the house. This is not a thing that I normally do, if I'm being honest. Yeah. But I'm going to come home. I'm going to make sure that there's not a bunch of dishes. I'm going to make sure that the table is cleaned off. I'm going to make sure that my pile of nonsense in the bedroom is pushed at least to one corner. And I am going to spend the next however many hours that I have preparing this meal and making sure that it is ready when she comes home. So... Okay. For me, a little bit of math goes on here. There's a little bit of an equation of, because I am I'm having to do this and balance this with work and I probably don't have a ton of time to do this. How good can I make this? How much can I get out of a minimal amount of effort, right? I've got all this other stuff going on and I'm going to be spending time cleaning, right? What is the thing that I can make that I can without putting in a crazy amount of work? Because if I come home and I'm like, I'm gonna make a 7-layer dip and a lasagna, and now I'm just stacking stuff for 9 hours, right? This is a bad plan. For me, the easiest way to knock this out of the park is fish.
Okay, yeah.
For two reasons.
You can microwave it.
Yep. Worst. And it comes in stick form.
Which is the easiest tartar sauce is just mayonnaise and relish. I like where you're going with this, Chuck. All right. Fish, two reasons.
The first is, it's not a thing that we do normally.
Yeah.
Right? We're not having fish on even a weekly basis.
We live nowhere near an ocean, so that makes sense.
We live in the least fishy place on the planet. And so, fish is something that can really just automatically, this is something different. This signifies that we're doing something out of the norm. This is special and it's because you're worth it, right? So I'm going to go salmon steaks, right?
Okay,
Nice,
yeah.
fresh salmon. I'm going to spend a little bit of extra on this because she's worth it.
She's worth it.
Absolutely. Also because it's crazy easy to make it. That's the second part of this equation, right?
Right.
Is we're breaking out of that norm and we're doing it in a way that doesn't take a whole ton of effort for me, because this is something
Sure.
that I need to be able to replicate on a regular basis, and you out there who are listening need to be able to do the same, right? So we're going salmon steaks. I'm coming home early. I'm putting these into a bag with some olive oil, some fresh dill, a little bit of lemon zest, salt, and that's it.
Okay.
I'm going to seal this bag up. I'm going to drop this into a pot of sous vide warmed water. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this style of cooking, this is where you are able to cook primarily proteins, but really anything at a precision temperature. You heat the water to the temperature you want the thing to cook. You put it in a bag. You immerse it in that for a period of time. For the fish, it's nice and quick. It's really like 45 minutes to an hour, and this big fat, just delicious salmon steak comes out so stinking good, and it is able to stay in there and ready to go right up until she comes home.
Okay.
And then I throw it down, boom, into a hot cast iron pan, skin side down, leave that skin on. If you can get that cast iron pan hot enough, that turns into a little salmon crackling, a little salmon chicharrone, right?
Okay.
This is nice and crispy on the bottom.
Yep.
You serve that up with a little bit of steamed broccoli or roasted asparagus on the side, a lemon wedge on the plate, and that another sprig of that fresh dill as a garnish across the top. And you have now created, without even like having to go to that much effort, one of the most beautiful plates that this wonderful person who means a lot to you has ever seen.
Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else?
No, I have already won. I'm
Okay,
good.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
going to
I'm
go that
very
route. huh?
confident.
Well, I was going to play nice. First thing I'm going to do is not send my wife to the park and make her work all day so that I can surprise her for an evening that she's completely not mentally prepared for. So what I'm going to do is give my wife fair warning, a little bit of advance notice.
Okay.
Hey, sweetheart, we're going to have a date night. I'm going to give her something to look forward to. This Friday, we're going to have a date night at home. Sweetheart, I want you to know, I want you to take the day as easily as you can, because I want you to just be here for this. I want to be present with you. I'm going to put
Good. Yeah, put the pressure on her for it to be good. That's a smart plan.
I'm gonna make everything. I'm gonna take care of everything. When I get home from work, I want you to sit down on the couch with a book. I'll put the kids down to sleep. And I'll take care of everything. And let me tell you what I'm going to make.
Yeah.
Well, first things first. As soon as the kids are down, and we're in a very fortunate place where they actually sleep through the night, I'm gonna get on Spotify. I have a playlist that I love for such occasions. It's called Coffee Table Jazz.
Ooh.
It's really nice. It's got like a Vince Guaraldi trio thing kind of going on, and it's just a bunch of stuff along those lines, and it's just so relaxing. Gives a nice feel to the evening.
Everything you love about jazz without having to get any deeper than what you would find in a coffee table book.
Precisely. So we tend to dress up a little bit, not to the extent where it's silly and a lot of work, but just if we were going out to a nice place, how would we dress? So we dress up a bit.
The good flip-flops. I like it.
Yeah. What I like to do is have my wife, she comes into the kitchen, the dining room, sits down, and I prepare the food in front of her, which she enjoys. And I'm going to make a few different things. Some meals that I've actually made for date night before, some recipes I've actually used that I'm going to be sharing on the website. You already know I'm a big fan of New York Times cooking, and this is a recipe I actually posted on our Instagram account, so I encourage you, check that out. Company Men Podcast is on Instagram.
Yep.
And we have this picture, and the recipe is skillet chicken with tomatoes, pancetta, and mozzarella. Basically, what you do is
I'm impressed that you got through that entire title without making a silly accent. It's very impressive.
I've been going to a class this week, learning about the subtleties of just things you don't say. So anyways, this dish is really good. You're taking the pancetta, you're frying it up. You're then taking a chicken, which I take a chicken. I love doing this. It impresses people. And I take that chicken, I turn it into 8 pieces. I save the backbone, which I then use for stock. And then I take the chicken, fry it up in whatever oil is remaining from the pancetta. There's actually some anchovies you're going to be using in this as well that you're mixing with the oil and different things. And then you're going to cook it in a tomato sauce, which you're going to bake for a little bit. In the cast iron. You and I both love cast iron. Why haven't we done an episode on cast iron yet?
Listen, if you want to impress your significant other especially, but really anybody, just go get a cast iron.
Get the
because
biggest
it just
cast
makes
iron
everything so much better.
Yeah.
It doubles as home defense.
It doubles as weights for weightlifting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you cook this chicken up, and then when you're done, this is my favorite part. You put a bunch of fresh mozzarella on top, and you pop that under the broiler and let it brown some, and then you put some fresh basil. Speaking of basil, my wife's actually not a huge fan of alcoholic beverages, so I'm going to make her a basil lemonade. It's just a basil themed meal. The other thing that I'm going to make, and I'm going to share this recipe as well. This is that
homemade basil that we've heard so much
about. It's the
about,
homemade
right?
basil made by God in his home. The other thing that we're going to make is we're going to make some broccoli. Do you like broccoli?
I love broccoli.
Good. I love broccoli too. Have you ever tried broccoli a little burnt?
No. I'm more of a steaming kind of guy.
Yeah, no, steamed broccoli is great. I love steamed broccoli, but there's this recipe. It's on foodnetwork.com, which I'm also going to be sharing. And the recipe is courtesy of, I don't know if you know this guy, his name's Food Network Kitchen.
Oh, I like him. Yeah, he's one of my favorite
for ambiguous figures. For a recipe that was just created by a kitchen, this is one of my absolute favorites, and it's so easy. It's just broccoli, olive oil, cloves of garlic, and then some kosher salt and some freshly ground pepper. And you roast this in the oven to the point where the broccoli has started to blacken on the edges. The flavor of blackened broccoli, along with the garlic and the salt, friggin' phenomenal.
Because nothing says I love you like cooking your food way too long.
Yeah. Hey, listen, my wife loves this broccoli. She loves it. She took the recipe. She started making it herself. Included in that, one other thing is I always try to make fresh baked bread. So I'm going to make some bread. I can also share the recipe that I use for that. And what's cool is the recipe that I use, not only is it super simple, but the dough, you can actually keep in the fridge, and you can continue making this bread for about 2 weeks just by pulling out a piece, popping it in the oven. It's super good. So that's about it. That's my date night at home. And so now that I've won, I want to move on to our next.
Hold on. Obviously we have both won in our own minds. And certainly part of this is because we are working very hard to impress 2 very different women.
For true.
And that is certainly should be taken into consideration.
Hey, listen, wait, real quick though. Different women in a lot of ways, but one very strong similarity. They both make bad decisions.
Right, or at least one really, really bad one.
One really bad decision,
10 years
which is
ago.
us.
Yeah.
Which is us. And we're so sorry.
God bless
and we're
going
to spend the rest of our lives making up for the poor choice that you made.
Best we can do, which isn't great. But, but that's the theme of this, right? Is that effort, they deserve it.
They do.
They totally do.
Absolutely do.
That said, obviously, I think each of our wives would agree that we have won, and certainly I would agree that I have won, and you would think incorrectly that you have. We're going to open this up to y'all. We're going to have a poll available on our Facebook page as well as in the show notes at companymenpodcast.com. And we want you to tell us which of these would be more likely to woo you, regardless of who you are.
Yep.
And because nothing makes me happier than embarrassing Jared by beating him soundly.
That's right.
At these competitions.
So what we'll do this time around is I'm going to post the poll on Facebook. You can go there, you can vote, and we will reveal the winner on next week's episode.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that. And you better believe that whoever wins, there's going to be some gloating going on.
Oh, yeah. I've already prepared a speech. Regardless of that, right? It is very important to me to win, but it is more important that these women feel important, and we just want to encourage you. Nobody knows your significant other better than you do, right? And so whatever it is, the theme of these meals and the whole plan, right? Our wives like different things. Your wife, whoever you're trying to impress, is going to like different things, and nobody knows what those things are better than you. Really, the whole goal here, the whole theme here, is to impress that person.
I think it also should be said that, at least in terms of my history, I've had more kitchen failures occur, it seems, on these at-home date nights than at any other point. I've gone for some really crazy stuff, and it's good if you choose to do that. I've gone way out. I've done some crazy seafood things and clams and whatnot, and just really jacked things up. If you're the one preparing the food and you're messing it up, the absolute worst thing that you can do is just
ruin the night for everybody.
Let this night be ruined by your bad attitude.
Yeah.
It's much better for the person that you're cooking for if you can just laugh it off, even if you're dying a little bit inside. If you can just laugh it off, go out, get their favorite milkshake and a couple cheeseburgers from a place that you like.
Tell them you meant to burn that broccoli and then publish it on the Food Network.
They already know. Look, if they've been married to you or you've been in a relationship, whatever, for more than a week, they know how jacked up you are.
Yeah.
They're very aware.
Really, there's nowhere to go but up from here. They
Exactly.
They've seen the worst of you. They know what to expect. And so, yeah, even just diving in and making a really solid go of it it's communicative of how you feel.
For
and,
sure.
And why that's why this is such a good thing for you to do, because you can't go wrong. You can only succeed, and it makes everybody the better for it.
That's right. All right.
And now,
awkward transition into
here
music.
Here we go. It's a segue. Ba-doop.
Boop.
And speaking of awkward segues, this week's fictional sponsor is Awkward Segways. That's right, from the folks that brought you the best way to lean your way around town comes their newest offering. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been on a sidewalk tour of the most interesting trees in St. Paul, or trying to cross every bridge in the city of Portland at a refreshing 12.5 miles per hour, but you're constantly interrupted by a barrage of high fives and people telling you how gosh darn cool you look in your Dockers? Well, suffer no more, thanks to the Awkward Segway. All the mild-mannered convenience of the original Segway, but it now also emits a high-frequency burst every 25 seconds that sounds exactly like your uncle telling a racist joke at Thanksgiving. Not only that, but you can ditch your pastel polo for the included button-up dragon t-shirt from your middle school closet, sure to repel as well today as it did back then. Awkward Segway. It'll get you there. But now what?
So we've gotten some really great questions this week. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite things that we're doing, because they're things that I wouldn't even begin to think of. But once somebody asks these questions, I identify, I'm right there with you. And I do have thoughts. And Chuck, I know you have some opinions.
Oh no, I don't have strong opinions, generally speaking. I'm a pretty laid back dude.
Yeah. As far as laid back people go, you're one of them. So a few good questions here. I'm going to start out with one that comes from David. David says, I want your thoughts on whether you are obligated to invite someone over once they've invited you.
Oh, yeah. This is a great question. And I wish I had a great answer for it, but it's one that I struggle with a little bit.
Sure.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a resounding no on this, even though I'm a little wishy-washy. And if you ask me again tomorrow, I might change my mind. But here's why. If I invite you over to my house and you come over and you have a great time and afterward you feel like, gosh, I should invite Chuck over. He's expecting that. You're wrong. You're very wrong.
No.
I'm not expecting that in the least.
Completely agreed.
And in fact, I don't even really want to come over that bad.
It's a well-known fact that you much more enjoy having people into your home. I'm the same way. Enjoy having people into our homes more so than we enjoy going over. That doesn't mean you should stop inviting us, because we also enjoy that. But we are awkward creatures, and it can be just as uncomfortable for us to go into somebody's home as it is to be invited. So don't think that you're hurting us.
No, please keep inviting me. Please
keep inviting us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But don't feel bad when you don't.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're going to have to feel this one up, because I think that there are some people who expect that reciprocation.
Sure.
But
that's silly. Just because somebody accepts reciprocation. I mean, just to throw out like an analogy here, okay, and maybe this is a poor one, but to some extent, like I want to say to some degree, I don't know if I'm treading on thin ice
get
here.
Out there.
Okay, I'm just
shove
gonna go out
off.
There is
Anchors away. Here we go.
Some aspect of having people over to dinner, which is almost in itself, it's kind of like a date to a weird degree.
Thin ice confirmed.
Right. So you have somebody over to dinner. It's an opportunity in some cases for us and for you to see, is this a friendship that we want to pour into and that we want to continue moving forward? And sometimes the answer is no. And you can have dinner with some really wonderful people that you really enjoy their company, you enjoy their food, you enjoy everything about them. You just don't see like this friendship going anywhere in the next few years. Maybe the differences are just too great. Maybe you have a hard time just hitting it off in terms of communication.
And what do you tell them? We're better off friends.
So there's one of two things are going to happen. You never do that. That's horrible. At the end of the dinner, you just
listen,
go,
I think we should stay acquaintances. I don't want to ruin this relationship we have as acquaintances.
I think we're done. We're done here. Here's some goodie bags to take with you to celebrate your time. Here's some commemorative glasses and T-shirts. No, at the end, what'll happen is one of two things. One, they may invite you over to dinner, at which point you just go. You suck it up and you just go. Mm-hmm. Even if you felt like the first time wasn't great, you don't go, sorry, no, we're busy forever. You go over, you give them a chance. Maybe you'll find out that there was something there that you didn't realize before, and it is a friendship worth pouring into. But also at the same time, if you just go and it's still kind of the same thing and you realize they like you more than you like them, then just don't invite them over again. It kind of dies there, and they'll go on to bigger and better things, and they'll find a friend that's just a better match, and you can kind of stop there. So I would say no. One, no, you're not obligated to invite somebody over once they've invited you over, unless you just feel like that's something that you want to do. And then two, if you do end up getting invited over, just go. Just suck it up. Just go. Get through it, and it's probably not going to be. It's not going to be bad. Really? No, it's almost never bad.
There are very, very few instances where I've accepted an invitation of hospitality and regretted it.
Exactly. Maybe it doesn't turn into like this long-term thing of just back and forth having each other over, but that doesn't mean it was a bad thing.
But yeah, for you, David, I think in most circumstances, do not feel obligated. If you are a frequent receiver of invitations, enjoy that. That means that you are a person that people enjoy to have around, and do not feel obligated in any way to reciprocate that unless they give off some serious vibes. For sure. That such is necessitated. Yeah. In which case you're just going to have to do it, and you're going to be better for it. If you're not comfortable in that space of having people over, I just challenge you to like give it a shot. Right? Start small, and see how it goes. And I think that you will likely find that there are a lot of things that are stressful and difficult about it, and overall it is a wonderful, wonderful experience.
I want to mention too, I'm thinking through how many different people we've had over. We've had over a lot of people once, and that's just kind of been the end of it. Or
why don't you name them now?
Or no, and this wasn't because of us. This was because of them. They came over. They never invited us over to their house.
Oh yeah, math adds up.
But they still kept coming over to our house. We kept inviting them over. We have a few friends that have been over to our house many more times, and we kind of love that. Mm-hmm. They've been over many more times than we've been to theirs, and that's kind of nice.
Yep.
Another question that we had come through, having kids and hosting people with kids. What do you do in terms of like menu, entertainment, bedtimes? How do you handle kids?
This is a great question. Who am I addressing? Who am I speaking to?
This
I must know.
Abigail.
Abigail. Absolutely. If you are of the age that both Jared and I and many of the folks listening out there are, and you have
70.
kids. Yeah, roughly 70.
75 years old.
Then clearly you're friends with nothing but people in their late 20s to early 30s. And they have kids.
Right.
And so you need to deal with that situation.
I want you to be honest here, because I said one time, we need to do an episode called Kids Are Company Too. And you said what?
I'll be honest. I don't like children.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
You told me to be honest. Kids are the worst. No, stop. Listen. You, Jared, listening people of the world, kids are the worst. Kids are the worst people that there are. There are very few people that exist that are worse than kids. Kids are disrespectful and disgusting and bad guests and just generally unpleasant to be around.
Okay.
And if we didn't love them because our biology forced us to, then they would never survive.
All I was going to say is that when I said we should do this episode, I said Kids Are Company Too. All you said was, no, they're not. I didn't expect you to go on this tirade about how horrible children are.
But they are.
No, this makes me feel better about anything that I've ever said on this podcast. So keep going. Keep digging yourself. Hey, I want you to remember what Chuck said whenever you're voting this week for the date night.
That's right. I was willing to reach into my gut and speak the truth.
What part of your guts?
You all know is true. And listen, obviously I'm not talking about your kids. They're the best. But all of the other kids that you've ever been around are just absolutely the worst people. And they're wonderful at the same time. Obviously, I am not a monster. But yeah, what do you do with these things that are bent on your destruction and discomfort? So obviously my kids are, here, generally speaking, when I'm hosting people, and certainly if I'm going to invite people that have kids, I'm going to make sure that my kids are here as well. And I, just as I am encouraging you, the listening world, to build these muscles of hosting, I am encouraging my own children to build these muscles of hosting, to understand that when other kids come over and are in your space, that you have to host them, that you have to, work and exit your comfort zone to make sure that these people enjoy their time. So, I lock them in a room in the back of the house and let my children host them. I don't do that. But I do. We have created spaces in our home. And even when we were in a much smaller home, we still, will carve out a section of the living room that like, this is your space, kids, to play. And I put my kids in charge of making sure that people in that space are comfortable, and they eat this up. You give your kids a job, they love it. And so you make your kid the host of the other kids. And then you equip them to do that. You either give them, if you want to give them movies and things to do that with, and you make sure that they know to let the guests choose. You make sure that if you are doing like a separate meal for the kids, like give them the opportunity to like serve that to the kids, right? Yeah. And so enlist your children to help host the evening.
There's no recovering from what you've said.
What is there to recover? I'm not trying to recover. I stand 100% by every word I just uttered. Okay. How do you host children, which I'm sure you believe are just nothing but a blessing and are always wonderful?
I will not say the kids are nothing but a blessing. I can't. I couldn't look you in the eye and be completely honest. Kids are they are a blessing, but they're
the worst people.
They can be difficult at times.
No adult could get away with what my children do on a daily basis.
Regardless of regardless of how you feel about children, there's a few things to keep in mind. One, they are people, and they are coming over to your home. We believe strongly in hosting and having people into your home. And so every time that we invite a family into our homes that has children, we are setting an example, not only for those parents that are coming in, but for the kids as well. So we want to, like we would with the adults, we'd want to treat them with some respect. We want to show some interest. We want to ask them some questions. We want them to feel engaged to some degree. We will almost always make another meal. Something super simple, butter sketty, macaroni and cheese, whatever the case is. And it's just because we do that for the kids. Even though not even normally, all the time, we make our kids eat whatever.
Right.
We want to do the simplest thing for the parents that are coming over. So sometimes we'll even ask the parents like, hey, would your kids like chicken nuggets or they like macaroni and cheese? Because we find that a lot of kids don't eat the same foods as our kids eat and vice versa.
Sure.
So that's one thing that we'll do. In terms of like entertainment, there is absolutely nothing wrong with putting on a movie.
Oh, yeah.
After kids have eaten, generally at that point, it's late in the night. They're starting to get sleepy. They're getting ready for bed. Sometimes we'll just tell the kids like, hey, let's go set up a movie, have the kids agree on something together, get them out of the room, which is helpful. They enjoy that. They enjoy watching movies with their friends. Usually they won't end up watching the movie at all anyways. It's like watch a couple minutes, run out, interrupt whatever we're talking about, whatever the case might be. Definitely, I mean, I just want to identify with you. Having kids over when you're entertaining, it adds an element of just difficulty in a lot of cases, and it's something that you have to work through. Sometimes we'll invite people over who don't have kids, and just because it's easy. So we've had entire dinners where there's like 4 or 5 people with no children, and that's fine too. There's a time for that, but yeah. I think that can be hard. I want to take a crack at this next question. Yeah. This one comes from Brad. Brad says, what is the best way for a guest to handle being served something they don't like? And then he has his follow-up questions, which I love. Should they be upfront about it? Move the food around the plate? Or take it to the bathroom and hide it in some towels? Brad, I want to say something because I know what you're referencing when you say take it to the bathroom and hide it in some towels.
Oh, he's referencing exactly what you did
from the barbecue episode. Yeah, when I took off a couple things. One, that was not food. It was a dirty shirt.
No, it was much worse.
It was kind of food because it was soaked with grease. And then 2, I hid it under pillows, not towels. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to listen to episode 2. But I'm having a hard time with this question because I have been over to people's houses and I've been served food that I don't like. And you just
spit it right out.
Dude, in their face. I eat every friggin' bite and as far as that person knows, I love it.
Yeah.
And I can almost make myself believe it because there's not a whole lot of foods that I have an incredible distaste for. Sure. There's I don't like bananas, that's about it.
Who does?
I don't like it when there's a bunch of cat hair in my food. That might make it really hard. I might act like I'm a little sick, but for the most part, I'd say if somebody invites you into their home and they feed you food that you don't like, unless you have a serious aversion to it, you need to eat it. You need to eat it. You need to at least try. You need to pretend to enjoy it. I love being real with somebody, but that's just one case. Yeah. For me, that's the same as like somebody coming up to me at a get together with an outfit and being like, "Do you love my outfit?" And me being like, "No, it makes me sick." I can't eat this, and then hiding them in a closet in the bathroom.
Yeah. I actually have a lot of experience with this very scenario. My wife and I both spent many years traveling and staying in people's homes night after night after night. And the majority of the time we ate wonderful food that was served to us, and it was great. And sometimes, and when you're doing this every night, you're relying on the hospitality of others, then there is inevitably many circumstances wherein you are presented with something that you very, very much don't want to eat.
Right.
And we learned, and we taught this to other people who traveled with us, the idea of a no thank you helping.
Okay.
Obviously, this only works if you're serving yourself, but you take a smaller portion of whatever you take everything. You take a little bit of everything, and you're just gonna have to learn how to like have that iron palate and muscle through some stuff.
Yeah.
But if there is something that is just like, oh, they served me this, neat. Just take a smaller portion of that, one that you can get through in 2 solid bites that you just power through. And hopefully there's something else that they are also serving that you can get a much bigger helping of. Right?
I'm right there with you. The only other thing that I would toss out is not so much for Brad, but for anybody who's serving food to anybody. Chuck, you're really good about this. I try to be good about this. Let the people who are coming over know what you're serving. Mm-hmm. One of the questions that I always ask before having anyone over for the first time is, 1, do you have any allergies that I need to know about? And 2, are there any foods that you hate?
Right.
Because you'll find out, I mean, like, one of my favorite foods to cook with is mushrooms. There's a huge number of people. Do you like mushrooms?
Sometimes.
Yeah. But a lot of people, they can't stand mushrooms.
Yeah, I can totally understand it.
I would so much rather know that on the front end. Some people don't like any kind of dairy. Some people don't like sauces. Just the idea of sauces grosses them out. I would so much rather know that on the front end. So reach out and ask. And then also taking this from, I believe her name, you probably know, I'm going to sound like such a goofus here. Amy Sedaris?
Yeah.
Amy Sedaris. Right. She wrote a book on hosting. It's a really cool, really funny, really insightful book. And one of the things that she mentions that I've now adopted is keeping a little notebook, keeping your little moleskin journal or whatever, and writing down the person's name of somebody that you're inviting over. What foods do they not like? What foods are they allergic to? And also just whatever note you want to write about this person so you're prepared the next time they come over. Hates children.
Keep away.
Keep away from my kids. No, just little notes that might help you. Like, hey, somebody doesn't like this type of music, so maybe I won't play that next time. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll play Sweet Home Alabama every darn time.
Because making them uncomfortable is going to build that relationship.
Maybe it'll keep them from coming back. It just depends on who it is.
Yeah. Oh, I dig it. Great questions, y'all. Keep hitting us with them. You can hit us on Facebook. You can hit us on our website on the contact page there. We love to just express our strong opinions about things.
Can I say something again? We have this contact page. And correct me if I'm wrong. Has anybody contacted us through the contact page?
No, not a single one.
Not a single one. Dear listener, would you be the first person to go to our contact page on our website, companymenpodcast.com. Go to the contact page and contact us.
Send us a little thing.
Send us a little something. Forward us an interesting political article. Whatever, we don't care. Just contact us, would you please? Yeah. Would you please contact us?
It's going to make us feel real good.
I want to rap.
Yeah. You want to rap?
I want to rap.
That's perfect.
Do you want to beatbox?
Because I want to lay down a real fat beat. I've been thinking this whole time.
Specifically, how fat is this beat going to be?
The fattest of beats.
The fattest of beats.
Fattest of beats.
The only other context in which that makes sense is a farmer.
Right.
This right here.
Here we are at
the
Mayfield County Fair at the fattest beat competition to come the blue ribbon for the fattest beats.
This one's mildly fat. This one's mediumly fat, and this one's the fattest of the beasts. And I'm about to lay it down.
And that is precisely what I am going to lay down.
Lay down the
for
fattest
you,
of the beats.
the listening public.
All right. Well, I'm going to freestyle a rap. In case you've never heard this before, I'm going to freestyle a rap that's based on everything that we've been talking about.
Right.
I have not written anything down. I do not have notes here. Purely going off of memory. After I'm about 8/10 of a way through a Dogfish Head Sea Quench Ale, which, by the way, I wanted to come back to this, is actually pretty drinkable. I like the lime. I like the salt. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. I really dug mine. I finished it about 5 minutes into the podcast.
Which explains the rest of the podcast. All right. Lay it down, Chuck.
Here we go.
Yo, it's the Green Machine, gonna rock the town without being seen. Have you ever seen a turtle get down? Slamming and jamming to the new swing sound. Yeah, everybody let's move. Vanilla is here with a new jack groove. Gonna rock and roll this place with the power of the Ninja Turtle bass.
Stop. That is not a freestyle of
That's
this.
absolutely a freestyle.
That is
talked
not.
about the turtles, which
Nope.
swim in the sea, which is where the Sea Quench Ale
Nope.
comes from. I didn't have it in me today, Chuck. I
Jared,
had a long day.
You just busted out the Ninja Rap by Vanilla Ice from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
A movie that
the
we
Secret
both
of the
love.
Ooze from 1991. You're just rapping my child. It's a TLDL of my childhood.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Ninja rap, ninja rap. Go, 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 go. Go, ninja, go, ninja,
No.
go. Go, ninja, go,
I
ninja,
cannot
go.
let this happen.
Go, ninja, go, ninja, go, ninja, go. Go.
This, before this gets much, much worse.
Wow.
I'm Chuck Tomervik.
I'm Jared Carter? Wait. And like we say every week,
Every week.
Vanilla is here with the new Jack Groove.
The power of the Ninja Turtle groove? No, I got the lyrics wrong. This is the worst
Cut.
part of this podcast, and I just ranted for 10 minutes about how bad kids are.
Hey, I said master date. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for it. Somebody's going to say something.
We're sorry,
We're
everyone.
sorry, everybody.
We're sorry. We'll catch you next week.